oneness would promote some basic and core values such as non-violence, love, and teach how to realize them in this life here and now. Swamiji used to say, here and now, not to wait for next life. So I am claiming that if several European nations can form a union having a single currency and common passport, then all the nations in the world can also form a single government. This should pave the way for global peace and harmony. So, philosophy is Moksha Shastra, how to alleviate the suffering at global level, and Vedanta can say how to achieve it. In the philosophy of Sister Nivedita, we come across the continuation of the projects of Swami Vivekananda's practical Vedanta, as she emphasizes education to remove superstition and fostering love for all. So long as we have known how she promoted love, how she promoted education. Moreover, her interpretation of Swamiji's philosophy will add another dimension to his global vision. And regarding her interpretation of Swamiji, which is related to Moksha Shastra, I would like to point out a few points. Swamiji's interpretation of Hinduism is not only authoritative but also realizable by all, as it is not confined to Hindus or the followers of Hinduism. His interpretation is based on reason. Swami Vivekananda's interpretation is based on reason. Hence it coincides with truth. And dharma is truth. My Guru, Pandit Dinesh Shastri, several times told me, dharma is truth. It is on a par with truth. It is truth. Satyam Vaitat. Hence, Sister Nivedita says, it is not a blind faith. To quote Sister Nivedita, a faith that had no fear of truth. It coincides with truth. Second point, Swamiji has represented the religious consciousness of the Hindus as a whole, not the view or the customs of a particular stream or sect of Hinduism. Moreover, his view represents not only the current consciousness of the people, but also the consciousness of the past. No sect, no stream, neither past nor present, but all inclusive. This justifies the name, I am claiming, Sanatana Dharma. The Dharma which has no temporal or physical boundary. Third point, Swamiji has also realized the essence of all religions, as each of them has the same goal, freedom from suffering. If religion causes suffering, does not alleviate suffering, then it is not to be called religion. In order to unify diverse religions, he frequently quotes the following passage from the scripture, Swami Vivekananda. I am the thread that runs through all these pearls. Going back to Bhagavad Gita. Each pearl is a religion or a sect of religion, and the Lord is the thread that runs through these pearls. When we are not conscious of the thread, we take different religions to be diverse and do not realize underlying identity or uniqueness. Hence, the principle is to be equated with a set of values. What is religion? Set of values. And what is the core value? How to alleviate suffering. Such as justice, universal brotherhood, love, compassion to all. These will alleviate suffering. Another remarkable feature, according to Sister Nivedita, is Swamiji's emphasis on truth. He says, journey is not from error or falsehood to truth, but from lower truth to higher truth. The goal is the highest, the universal truth, according to Swamiji, is the realization of divinity in us. Hence, one becomes divine by realizing one's divinity, which is latent in each individual. The divinity of Swamiji is not external to our soul. As he said, Swamiji, to quote Swamiji, the end of all religions is the realizing of God in the soul. This is one universal religion. If there is one universal truth in all religions, I place it here in realizing God. And according to Swamiji, one becomes religious when one sees God in others. He says, I shall call you religious from the day you begin to see God in men and women. He even identified human beings with God. As he says, every man and woman is the palpable, blissful, living God. Nietzsche says, God is dead. But Swamiji says, God is living, where he lives in every being. The identification justifies principles of ethics and religion. Thereby, ethics and religion become autonomous, not dependent on a supernatural being. Kant, in Western philosophy, tried to make ethics independent of God. But he failed when he correlated virtue with happiness and vice with suffering. So he postulated God, a supernatural being, and he postulated afterlife. But Swamiji, without postulating God, without postulating afterlife, claimed that God is here in every being. So according to Sister Nivedita, Swamiji has emphasized the right of every individual to choose one's own Ishtadevata, chosen deity, Ishtadevata. This is another dimension of Hinduism, which emphasizes the freedom of each individual, which is lacking in other religions. All other religions, if you look at, does not give this independence, flexibility of individual. We respect each and every individual equally. Swamiji claimed that every individual can invent one's own deity, which one can worship. To quote Swamiji, in the worship of the gods, you must of course use images, but you can change these. Kali need not always be in one position. Encourage our girls to think of new ways of picturing her. Have 100 different conceptions of Saraswati. Regarding the formation of new sects or streams of religions, he considers it as a sign of progress, a step towards the resolution of conflict. When you impose your deity on others, you create conflict. To quote Swamiji, sects are not signs of decay, they are signs of life. Let sects multiply till the time comes when every one of us is a sect. Each individual, we need not quarrel about that. Another point of Sister Nivedita, very, very great point. Swamiji has been compared with the Lord Krishna of Bhagavad Gita, the enlightened Gautama of Buddha, and the great Advaita Vedantin Shankaracharya, as all of them have interpreted, to quote Sister Nivedita, treasures of Indian culture and realized the truths embedded in it. I think this comparison emphasizes similarities with their views or ideals they have cherished for the realization of mukti or freedom from suffering. We come across remarkable similarities with the teachings of Lord Krishna, as Swamiji emphasizes righteous actions without any selfish motive, mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. Importance of jnana, mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. Importance of bhakti, mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. And karma, righteous actions for the realization of one's real life or for attaining liberation or mukti. So Swamiji emphasizes all this. So there is similarity with Lord Krishna. Second point, comparison with Buddha emphasizes his insistence on love and compassion for all living beings, as well as Buddha's emphasis on alleviating the suffering of each individual in this life. Remarkable similarity with these three pointed out by sister, great sister, the universal sister. This is echoed in Swamiji's insistence on here and now, as we cannot wait for the next life or the distant future to achieve our goal. How to compare him with Shankaracharya? Since Shankaracharya, we come across the oneness of the Advaita philosophy. Swamiji has used it to resolve various types of conflict at individual, social, or global level. So, hence, Sister Nivedita got a glimpse of new Trinity in the teachings of Swami Vivekananda. You know, Trinity in the context of Jesus. Trinity here is Lord Krishna, Buddha, and Shankaracharya. All in one in Swamiji. It is also claimed that Swamiji found unity among all the streams or branches of Vedanta philosophy. Dvaita, Vishishtadvaita, Advaita. To quote sister, three phases or stages in the single development. To quote sister again, when he said that God, seen through the mists of sense, became personal, one was awed and touched by the beauty of thought. When you see through your senses, it has taken a one form. This thought has been echoed in the teachings of Sri Ramakrishna, as he said, God is both form and without form. And he is that which includes both form and formlessness. What this passage meant is that God has form from one perspective, God has no form from another perspective, and if you combine both the perspectives, like the Jaina philosophers, he is both form and formless. So there is no contradiction. Western philosophers will point out there is a contradiction. There is no contradiction when you combine both the perspectives. Hence, there is no contradiction in these utterances. To quote her sister, to Ramakrishna and Vivekananda, the many and the one were the same reality, perceived differently at different times by human consciousness. Even many and one, the same reality, because of different perspectives. So we do not exclude. Vedanta does not exclude anything. It is all-inclusive. So Swamiji's philosophy is not only the melting point of East and West, but also of past and future. This as synthesis of all the points of view are included in his philosophy. According to sister, 5 minutes. According to sister, Swamiji has emphasized equality in all stations of life. Then, She also quotes Swamiji's utterance, art, science and religion are but three different ways of expressing a single truth. I took some time to explain this. Art refers to all the actions of all the individuals in our life. If practiced without selfish motive, you experience divinity. Science, concerned with truth, if you apprehend the truth, then you realize the real nature of the self. And religion is concerned with alleviating suffering of all. Therefore, they all lead to the same goal. So, they represent karma, art, jnana, science, religion, bhakti. So art, science and religion will form unity. Therefore, they are the same. Another very significant feature of Swamiji's philosophy, according to Sister, is his emphasis on learning from everyone. He claimed we can learn from everyone. Regarding the philosophy of Sister Nivedita, I would like to point out her emphasis on unselfishness in realizing the truth. To quote her, Sister, a mind must be brought to change its center of gravity. Again, open and disinterested state of mind welcomes truth. If you want to know truth, you have to be unselfish. Hence, a mind free from self-interest can grasp the truth, as selfishness will distort the real nature of reality. In our scriptures, she has extended our scripture. As well as in practical Vedanta, unselfishness has been emphasized in our actions, especially in dharmic activities. But our sister emphasizes in the realm of knowledge as well. It is another dimension to her philosophy. She was also a source of inspiration to a galaxy of intellectuals. As Tagore said, addressing J.C. Bose, in the day of his success, Jagadish gained an invaluable energizer and helper in Sister Nivedita. In any record of his life's work, her name must be given a place of honor. She promoted our intellectuals. Then comes the last point of my talk. Since Sister was unselfish, both in her activities as well as in the realm of thought, she realized the truth about Indian culture and spirit. As she says, the whole history of the world shows that Indian intellect is second to none. Who can say that? This must be proved by the performance of a task beyond the powers of others, the seizing of the first place in the intellectual advance of the world. Is there any inherent weakness that would make it impossible for us to do this? Are the countrymen of Bhaskaracharya and Sankaracharya inferior to the countrymen of Newton and Darwin? We must not. It is for us, by the power of our thought, to break down the iron walls of opposition, the iron walls that confront us, to seize and enjoy the intellectual sovereignty of the world. Let this convention, dear brothers and sisters, let this convention echo this truth. The truth, Sister Nivedita has realized that it is second to none. Let this convention be the forum for the realization of this truth of our great sister. Let it be a global forum for the promotion of truth, irrespective of caste, color, creed, and country. With this humble note, I offer my pranam to the living gods and goddesses of this temple, the temple of Ramakrishna Vivekananda, the temple of Sharada Ma and Sister Nivedita.
Revered monks, eminent speakers, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen, it's my privilege to propose a vote of thanks on the inaugural session of this 3-day international seminar to commemorate the 150th birth anniversary of Sister Nivedita. I, on behalf of this institute and on my own behalf, extend a very hearty vote of thanks to all speakers for taking time from your respective schedules to grace this august occasion. We thank and offer our pranams to revered Swami Supananandaji Maharaj for introducing the speakers to us and for welcoming us to this seminar. We express our gratitude to revered Swami Abhiramanandaji Maharaj for so lucidly explaining why we adore Sister Nivedita. We also offer our deep sense of appreciation to Professor Radharaman Chakraborty and Sri Shakti Prasad Mishra for their expositions on Sister Nivedita's social philosophy and the thoughts about Indian nationalism respectively. We are also deeply indebted to Professor Jaisankar Lal Shaw. In his keynote address, he has rather broadly laid out the contours of this seminar. An event like this cannot happen overnight. The wheels start rolling weeks ago. It requires meticulous planning and a bird's eye views for details. Our thanks to all members, both monastic and lay, of this institute who have really worked hard to make this a success. Finally, we cannot thank everyone enough for the involvement, willingness, and active cooperation for wholeheartedly striving to ensure the success of this 3-day international seminar. Thank you very much. Good night. We have just a small announcement.